Tonight on PM Magazine, Paul McCartney talks about life after the Beatles.
Then meet the godmother. She's an old-fashioned matchmaker who could bring about some modern romance.
And it's the ultimate car auction.
500,000, now 600,000.
Can you guess how much?
Popular music. Even though he's the most successful recording artist in history, he's still just a hard-working family man.
Right now, PM's Nancy Glass talks with Paul about life with the Beatles and about his new movie, which he co-produced and stars in. Give my regards to Broadstreet.
A little more than 20 years ago, the Beatles exploded onto the American scene. 4 exuberant mop tops who embraced the world, and the world embraced them back. At first, critics were determined to write them off as a fad. One said they look like sheepdogs and sing like alley cats. But they soon became the cultural conscience of a generation, with harmony that soothed the discordant decade. Today, their music serves as a magical history tour. Of the 4, Paul was the one with the innocent face and sweet voice that delivered the unforgettable love songs. In the 60s, he saw his future this way.
Well, obviously, we can't keep playing the same sort of music until we're about 40.
I can wait another day. Well, he's now 42. His hair is flecked with gray, but the boyish charm is still there. What were the Beatles?
A group of fab mop-tops. The Beatles were a terrific band. I mean, we didn't mean to shake the world. We just meant to go and get famous and have our songs be popular. But we came on the sort of forefront of a revolution. It was happening anyway. It wasn't us.
If, as Paul claims, they were not the center of a revolution, then they certainly were a part of it. And while he is now a touchstone of nostalgia, he is also a touchstone of talent. Paul has had several gold records over the past few years. His latest project is a movie, Give My Regards to Broadstreet. He describes it as a fantasy built around a day in the life of a pop star. That fantasy allows him to sing 14 songs, including some classics. Yesterday. To make the music, he asked his old friend Ringo if he wanted to get involved.
Yes, I do.
Linda McCartney is featured on keyboard and vocals.
I'm not competitive, but I like to be part of the thing, if I can.
What do you hope this movie does for you?
I would just like it to be a success, because then I would feel that I wasn't a bad screenwriter, that I wasn't a bad actor, and that I wasn't a bad musician. And any reinforcement and encouragement I can get on those 3 fronts, I'll take.
Do you really need reinforcement or encouragement?
Yes, like all of us. Do you ever meet a person who didn't?
Whether or not he succeeds as a movie maker, Paul can't deny that he has written some of the most popular love songs of our time.
I really like it when somebody says, you know, I was really feeling down, but I listened to your song, and it brought me up. So, I mean, I love that power of being an aspirin for people.
Take a walk, the sun is shining down. Find my feet as I touch the ground.
Excuse us for a moment, won't you?
I read that you said sometimes a song just sits down and writes itself. Which songs?
There's a song in the films, called No Values. That was written by a dream. The Stones were there on stage, and Jagger was up front, you know, doing this whole big song. And there was this song called No Values. I kind of woke up, I think, oh, I like that one of the Stones. Wait a minute, they haven't done one called No Values. Do, tilt. And so I thought, well, I'd better write it then.
And while his songs are being analyzed and memorized, he says sometimes his mind is elsewhere.
One of the things that happens when you're doing, let's say, a live performance, is your mind can wander. You can be singing yesterday, but you can be thinking, what are we going to have for dinner tonight?
20 years ago, when the Beatles began touring, few heard what they were singing. It was a scream fest with 4 against 1,000, and the memory of that landing is still very vivid.
Yeah, actually, I mean, no one told us there were going to be anyone at the airport. You know, the doors opened like they do, and you're standing with your little hand luggage to get off the plane. You go, ah! Good God, what's that? I said, it's for you. I said, oh, no. It was fabulous. It was what we wanted, you know.
In the 60s, the Beatles were always on the cutting edge of what was happening in rock and roll. But Paul says now, at age 42, he doesn't feel that need.
No, I wouldn't want to be that. No, no, you've got to hand that one over. To the 20-year-olds, you know, let them have it. They want it. I don't want it anymore.
One holdover from Paul's youth that has stayed with him is marijuana. In fact, in the past few years, he has been arrested several times on charges of possession.
In actual fact, I would say things like sleeping tablets and scotch and that kind of stuff. I'd put them as being more harmful than pot. But that's my own personal opinion. I don't want that to make me into a preacher.
There is no controversy over the fact that Paul is the most commercially successful musician in the world. Penny Lane has led him to Easy Street, with earnings from his music and investments estimated at $500 million.
What was I trying to get famous for? And it was basically to get a guitar, a car, and a house. I've got a guitar now, and a car, and a house. And so after that, you think, well, I mean, what is it for?
What is important to you?
My family. I'm lucky enough to kind of love my kids, you know, and we've got a good relationship. And my wife, we've got a good relationship too, so I mean, I'm really lucky.
Paul McCartney once said that the best songs are the old standards. He probably never realized how much he would contribute to that list. The sweetest face in the world's best-loved band.
Now, don't get me wrong, I love the Beatles as much as anyone else, but the word on the street is, give my regards